Marshall in the middle.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. We are back on another nuclear biological chemical show. This is the NBC Room. We are analyzing the threats. We're not trying to put you into a panic. We just want you to understand what is happening. Here I am with Mr. One and Only Will Marshall, the first sergeant, top of the hour. And we are with Ranger Nate. Nate Dog. I call him Nate Dog. That's
Nate
my
Dog.
dog right there. Ranger Nate. Hey, we in it for another one, man. We got a lot to discuss tonight. First, but before we get into it, we do have a sponsor. You want to pull that up top?
Oh yeah. Look, if the popo's chasing you, call Penny. She for all your lawyer needs. If you need a will, if you need anything, if even international clients, if you need something, call Penny. She can hook you up. So there you go. There's the number on the screen. Penny Cox, attorney. And also, hey, I'd like to talk about our donors. Thank you for those that keep Marshall in the Middle, Heroes I Know going. Here's our donor list. If you'd like to donate, you can go to that code right there and donate at any time. Thank you very much. But your donations keep this going, and we really appreciate it. So thanks for the sponsors. Thanks for your donations. And all of our master rated donors, woo whoop, woo whoop. Thank you very much. There we go.
Yes, sir.
There we go.
All right. Before we start this show, I just want you guys to understand, and everyone watching to understand, we have another fallen soldier. There's been a couple over the last week. It's been about 7. And this guy here, U.S. Army Major Jeffrey O'Brien, 45. All right. He died in Kuwait, port of Shurba, and it was March 1st. He, just like every last one of us, signed up, and we're doing the American citizens' bidding, whether we're for or against. You know, I really want people to understand how our society is built and work. When we sign up to do this, we automatically have addressed the issue of giving up our life. We sign it on a dotted line. But I feel that the American citizen should also understand that sacrifice. I think that it's not to put us as a privileged class. It's not to differentiate us in that kind of manner, like we're higher or lower, or any of that. But there is something to be recognized when somebody at 17 years old has a contract in front of their face and says, you know, you're signing over your rights to the government, you are a vassal of the state, and there's a great chance that you could lose your life because of your duty to the American Constitution. And any person that dies in the name of America's Constitution and agenda, whatever the people vote for, whether we are for or against, falls under the line of our duty. And anyone that creates that ultimate sacrifice deserves the honor of immortality and recognition and respect. So, Major Jeffrey O'Brien, you did the solid thing, and I love you. Thank you, sir. Today we're going to talk about Iran. We got Iran on agenda, SAVE Act. We have a part of the SAVE Act, what that means for the voters of America. We have a little bit of the situation that went on in New York, certain threats that I feel like I've highlighted many a time in my previous videos on Loose and Reckless, as far as the Islamic threat, communist threat, all these things are happening in New York right now. We got a lot to talk about tonight, man. But before we get into that, how you guys been this week? Nate, Big Nate?
Hey, man. I've been great. It's been a good week. I'm still celebrating this. For your listeners out there and your viewers, man, I'm still celebrating all this this situation going on with Iran. I think we're almost at the near of the end, man. I really do. I mean, they're dissipated, man.
Yeah, that's a big deal.
The enemy's down, dude.
Bro.
I'm still trying to figure out what's going on with this supreme leader that took over, man, that was nominated and all that. Because I hear he ain't doing too good, man. But they don't confirm it, so we don't.
Yeah.
Kind of still all in the, we don't know yet. But yeah, I'm all been great, man.
I have definitely diagnosed that situation when it comes down to the supreme leader and this. I think that's a shit on us. Like, they really took a shot at us with even acknowledging the sun. All right. That's like kind of egging things on in a way where last week we were talking about they need to go ahead and surrender. And I still full-heartedly believe, that's their best course of action. And right now we living in a world of information warfare and tug and pull of what is actually happening versus what is not happening. And the only thing that place has going for them right now is information warfare, because immediately, which we're going to get into, they went to attacking everybody around them, shooting missiles off everywhere, hitting everybody that has nothing to do with the fight. And it's crazy. But Top, how you doing tonight, man? How's everything been, brother?
Everything has been wonderful. Things are going crazy around me and here. We've got a new house we're getting ready to move into, doing some tree work, some clearing the land around there. Nice. Of course, I got my little, I don't know if y'all seen my new little drone, so I fly my little drone around there and use the camera on it and make videos and stuff. I've enjoyed that. We've got, I got a new, like a band kind of forming, me and this lady named Denise Crawford. We're calling it Crawford and Marshall. And we're got some originals. As a matter of fact, Mama Told Sally Not to Go Downtown is one of the originals that we're going to be singing at a festival downtown. I'm also part of the.
Please record it.
Yeah, and then we got the Wiregrass Harmony Brothers, which I'm a part of. We're performing tomorrow for the Midland City Senior Center, so that's always fun. There's, I don't know, 5 or 6 of us tomorrow that are going to go there and put on a little show, and it's about an hour, and it gives us something to do, and it gives the folks that are there, something to do while they play dominoes or gossip about whatever. And this place is the place that my grandma used to go to. Her pictures on the wall there and everything. So
nice.
It gets kind of special, kind of cool. We do the VA. We do two or three other centers. We do maybe about 6 shows a month or so, maybe 6 or 7 shows a month.
Okay. All right. Well, we got to link that, and we got to start promoting some of those shows. Now, back to the tough stuff. We got to get to the tough stuff. Iran and the Middle East. I have an article I want to share with you guys, and I want to get you guys' take on it. It's from the New York Times. And before we share this article and preface, I want to preface like where I stand a little bit. I don't know how you guys look at the media, data from the media, intel, whatever. When it comes down to polls and opinion pieces, I diagnose and I drink it in a little bit. Maybe sometimes too much. Maybe it's like a high toxin for me. But, I drink it in a little bit. And I do understand for a fact that there's a thing called framing, right? And then there's a thing called data. Sometimes media outlets like to frame things and omit data. And then sometimes they want to place data and then omit framing. I tend to like the data versus the framing. Sometimes you just get both intermixed, and you have to understand where they're coming from when they're framing something. And I just laid that out there because I wanted people to understand my take on whatever media I cover. This article here is from the New York Times. Could you pull me up top? It says, unlike past U.S. conflicts, Iran attack is opposed by most Americans. All right. Public support for U.S. military intervention in the first days of international conflicts. Right. So in World War II, we had 91%. Right. We had 91% approval. In Afghanistan war in 2001, we had 92%. Of course, that was our era. Everybody, both you and most people watching right now probably can agree that 9/11 set a fire in our ass that has not been seen in a long time. I mean, I don't care what walk of life that you came from. You know, if you were American, you felt 9/11 to your core, right? So I can understand why Afghanistan war was rated so highly. But let's jump down here and skip all of this other stuff and go down to the Iranian war. And we're saying war in quotation marks. I'm giving the air quotes for a reason. And yes, I'm framing. This is me framing the article. I'm framing it that I think that this popularity contest of a poll is biased and skewed, but I do want to talk about it on the panel right now. I do also want to highlight this article was written by these two lovely ladies, Lily Boyce and Ruth Igelink. All right. So you guys can research that. I don't think I need to dive too deep into the article itself, but I do believe that New York Times will never post data, right? This block right here, and not stand by it. All right. And if they don't stand by it, they're going to have to explain. I do believe they will omit. So what do you guys think? What do you guys take on the Iranian war and why it's so unpopular right now? Nate, what you got?
I'll tell you what, they think it's unpopular, not because of the politicians in Capitol Hill. They think it's unpopular because who's sitting in the White House. So we go back. I mean, this is a rotating circle, man. This continues to go around. It's unpopular with the Democrat politicians on the Hill because Donald Trump's making it happen. Okay. And Secretary Hegseth and Chairman of the Joint Chiefs, Kane, they're making it happen. And Marco Rubio, they're making it happen. They don't want that. Now, I tell you right now, dude, you'd see every media outlet right now in the United States and across the world, liberal, especially CNN, MS Now. I mean, I can go on and on. CBS, NBC, every outlet would be going crazy right now, praising this administration for doing what we're doing after 47 years of this conquest over the Middle East and across the world, man, with the terrorism, with the the number one state of terrorism in the world, man, on the global front. And the only reason you're seeing negativity when you put on the television or when you open up a newspaper or you get on the internet, no matter what, even Yahoo News, man, get rid of that, man. All you're going to get is negativity because who's sitting in the White House and who's sitting in the Oval Office.
Yeah, I definitely agree to a large extent on how the media takes it and how they push their agenda into the populace's mind with all negative feedback. I just feel like that we are, as humans, a little bit more perceptible than that. And for some reason, it feels like that's not what's happening. But what is your take, Top?
So a couple things. One, I think we're going to look back on this and the Iran war is going to be a very small blip, very much like what Ranger Nate said before, in that we're already over the hump. We went into that South American country, Venezuela, and just kidnapped the president and drove away, and this is going to be a similar kind of thing. The thing that I love the most about what I see happening is that Pete Hegseth, somebody that I trust, for whatever reason, looks us in the eye and say, this is not a forever war, and this is not about making money. This is about whatever intel they have, whatever reasons that they have to do the things that they do. I'm not certain that they're not corrupt in some way, okay? But at the end of the day, at least our president is being a leader, right, wrong, or indifferent. If this turns into the world's worst, whatever, you can't say like we did when the past president was here, who's in charge. We don't understand. We don't know who's making decisions. At least in this case, we know who's making decisions. It's obvious because I was listening to Rogan was talking to somebody today, and the guy was like, the thing that makes me believe in Trump so much is that he didn't give Elon everything he wanted. Even though he was like his biggest donor, then he didn't even give him the electric car subsidy or something. It's like if there's one thing that you can for sure say is that Donald J. Trump is his own man. And he's making real decisions, whether you like them or not. You can not like them,
right?
But the thing that I challenged my buddy Jamie, I wanted to. So James Given, Jamie, Sergeant Major Fernandez, you guys are always watching. Thank you so much, Multicolored Joe. Hey, thanks for commenting. We really appreciate it. But one of the things that you hear me say time and time again is that we're responsible for our own feelings and reactions to those feelings. We have to put ourselves in a place where either we're threatened or we're able to feel and emanate love. And that's what we're going to be judged on when it's all over. Oh, I saw this video I got to share with you guys the other day on YouTube. It's called playing the game of Earth, and it is so cool to think of it like, all right, well, you got here and you go through your tutorials when you're in kindergarten and elementary school and middle school, and then it talks about life as if a game. And if y'all know anything about me, you know that that's kind of the way I feel, the way things are. If you use game theory and think of love as the unifying thing, as the unifying goal, and drive your character towards love, then you'll go a long way. You'll go a long way. And I don't even know what I'm talking about now, but I'll tell you this.
No worries.
I'll tell you this. I'm not worried about Iran like I was worried about Iraq. When Iraq was going down, I remember looking at Colin Powell, who was sitting in front of the UN, and I'm wringing my hands, and he's reading a statement that's been prepared by the CIA that, looking back on it, he knew was false. We all knew was a bunch of bull crap. And then we went off, and man, listen, I lost some of my best buddies in Iraq. I don't quite feel the same way about Afghanistan, and you showed it right there on the thing. Our desire to go to Afghanistan and revenge the World Trade Center was something that we seemed to feel as if it was a just thing to do. Mm-hmm. But Iraq, I think deep down inside, I think every one of us knew better. I think every one of us deep down inside was like, we're screwing up here. This is not right.
Yep. And on that note, I totally get where you're coming from. And, in my perspective, when it boils down to Iran, I think that it's not just that we all lack love. There is a fact that there's, in my personality, in my perspective, there's certain things you just can't love. Okay. There's certain evils or destructive natures that you can't love. And I love people like you, Top. I love people like you that want to live amongst the reality of love thy neighbor and love everyone that you hold dear. And I want to hate people that want to destroy your freedom to do that. Okay. I want to I want to be the warrior. You know that in the Bible where Jesus had his disciples and told them to stand down, Peter, to stand down when they found him in the woods, and Peter cut one of the Roman guards' ear off. I'm Peter, okay? You know what I mean? Like, and I can't undo that. And this is the reason why I can't, is because the worldly addiction to staying worldly is always going to be. And in order to prevent certain things from your dearest and your closest, you have to be aware that it exists. Not that you're treating everybody in that manner, prejudging everybody in that manner, but you have to be aware that it's real and that it exists, that people will take from you without a moment thought or a second thought, and they'll sleep at night comfortably knowing that you lied in your pool of blood, and they'll feel justified in doing so, not out of love, not out of hate, but just out of indoctrination of how they were taught and how they believe and what they feel. And that doesn't even have to leave the country. We're just talking about an urban city in a blue state. You know what I mean? I'm just telling you what I know, what I've dealt with, what I've seen, and the hearts of men are a little bit more nuanced than the black and white of good and evil. Everybody has their agendas. In this war here, we don't take that into consideration because America has a lot of luxury beliefs. We have a lot of privilege in the world in general. We live a 1% reality for humanity. Like, there's never been humans on this face of the earth over the last 1,000 years that have had the privilege and the luxury that American citizens today have, which incentivizes people to want to come here in the first place. And the number one issue that we have with a place like Iran is the fact that you were 100% correct, Top. When we were in Iraq, everybody knew something was off. And on top of that, all of our intel was telling us that these IEDs, they were coming from Iran. All these RPGs, they were funded by Iran. ISIS leaders, they were stationed in Iran. This is why we couldn't catch them. You know, there was a lot of things going on for decades that Iran has been backing, has been doing, and we've been playing pussyfoot with them for so long, president after president, trying to negotiate. And even to this point where we're at today, where Trump moved all of our carriers into the Middle East and moved all of our warships into the Red Sea and actually declared war, there was months of buildup where he was trying to negotiate, and no one highlights that. No one highlights the fact that he didn't want this. No one highlights the fact that he tried over and over again to reach out his hands to these people and tell them, let's come to a deal. All we want is y'all to not advance your nuclear program, get rid of your arms. Okay, I get it. You think that you have a right to have arms just like us. We don't have a track record of attacking you. You have a track record of attacking us. And guess what? We the big dogs with the guns. So either you're going to lay down your fucking guns or we're going to come take your guns. One or the other. And whether or not you like this, whether or not y'all want to all of a sudden sing Kumbaya under Allah, you can think that that could be a reality, but that would never happen with these people. They have sung Death to America since I was fucking 10. Since I was 10 years old. And this has been their indoctrination. And as long as they could get away with procrastinating and holding back and telling you guys, okay, just chill. We'll postpone. Just give me money. Give me money. And we did it like some suckers over and over again, giving them our money, our taxpayer dollars, funding them while they're holding our taxpayer dollars for the negotiation tactic of we ain't gonna attack nobody, just give me money. Well, it got to a point where you got a real motherfucker in office that looks at it on some real shit like, yo, we not finna keep playing with you. This is what we're gonna do. If you wanna have any kind of dealings with us. We'll bring you in. We'll take tariffs away. We'll do this. We'll do that. We'll accommodate you. But you have to disarm and you have to stop singing death to America. What they do on their parliament Twitter page, they put out a AI version of them blowing up the White House and saying death to America right after in March. In March last year, he extended the hand to them saying we want to do business. So we started pushing our warcraft over there. I don't understand how we as a people have forgotten that there has been things going on before our birth and after our birth that whether we like it or not, we're tied to. Just like here in America, we're tied to the issue of slavery. I think it's a reality that we all have to conceptualize, perceive, and choose how to look at it. You can either look at it glass half empty or glass half full. I feel in my heart that in the 1800s, 1900s, the vast majority of white people in America was looking at the ending of slavery as glass half full. All right. And I think that the vast majority of black people in America was thinking glass half full because that was the American way. That's why so many of them signed up for World War II. And then when them men came back from World War II and they were defeated and beat down, they just wanted to give these baby boomers the life they could never imagine and give them everything they wish they could have. All of us, black, white, yellow, and different. We built a reality for the baby boomers that they benefited off of things that they were born into, essence and a creation they were born into. I think they foundered it. I think they spoiled it. And here we are today with other conflicts that are going on all over the world, but we fail to remember the allegiances our grandfathers and grandparents made, the treaties that were signed. Yes, they were before us. Who cares? You're benefiting a reality that happens once in humanity. And in that reality, it behooves each of us to be responsible in understanding what is happening in a context that's bigger than just our life and our little moment in time. We all are living for inhale and the exhale in the longevity of humanity. I give those guys that fell for America their shout out every show as long as this war goes on, and we're going to do it over and over again, because in my opinion, this truly is the beginning of humanity. When the internet formed, the writing is done, people are visualizing things and hearing things, and this stuff is forever. This is immortal. And there's so much information for us to dive into and spread and get to and understand. This Iraq war is bigger than, Trump just is mad and this, or Trump feels this. There's knowledge and information that's coming at a level that I appreciate, just like Top and just like Nate, that he's making clear, decisive decisions. People want to beat and bash somebody when they're making decisions in the hot seat. And he's clear as a person that is not a puppet. He doesn't move off of things. The MSNBC is trying to paint him as, after the talk with Russia, they're trying to paint him as he's still being a puppet for Putin. How can two things be the same when we're going to war with Putin's friends? What you think about that, Nate?
Because they can't let it go.
Yeah,
they won't let it go. Look, hey, bro, man, they're not going to let that go. Well, Ray, they ain't going to let it go, man. They can't. They have nothing else.
Right.
Chuck Schumer and all them guys, they're watching the same thing we're watching. We are annihilating, if not already annihilated in past tense,
right,
a radical Islam society that's been targeting the United States since I was a little boy. Like you just said,
right.
You were 10. I think I was about 7. I think I was second grade, man, when all them hostages got taken over.
Yeah.
Will on his show here not too long ago, man. I got his book. I tell you what, man. So they've been a plague on this earth for so long, and we finally had a president that did something about it. And Chuck Schumer and Adam Schiff and even Nancy Pelosi and Barack Obama, all of them, man, they know it. They love it. Mm-hmm. Deep down, they love it. But God forbid if they come out in public and say, whoo, it's about time somebody stepped up to the plate. George W. Bush, same with him, man.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it's about time somebody got up there and did something about this. These radical people, man, that have been terrorizing us since 1979, bro. And you'll never hear it, brother. You'll never hear it, man.
Man, it's a doggone shame. It's like nonstop bash you over the head with hate of the current regime. I just want people to understand, like, I think this is my personal belief on Trump. I think that he lives in an altruistic state right now. I think he knows he's going to die soon. Okay. This is sad to say as a Trump supporter, right? Like that. I know that he knows. You can see it in his speeches. He's slowing down. His energy is not what it was. And I'm not trying to diminish his light. I'm trying to actually blow it up because this is a supernova happening in our face. We're seeing a man burning his last light out for an idea of a reality he think he had and he appreciates, and he wants to be able to extend the reality for the American citizen in the same manner where when he was young, he had an eye full of opportunity. Whether he was privileged, lower, upper, middle, level class, didn't matter. In his eyes, the world was filled with opportunity, and it meant the American way. You get what I'm saying? This is where he came from. He didn't go to the School of Finance, Wharton Finance, which they never, it's funny how the left always appreciates degrees until it comes to his economic finance degree or his business degree. They always appreciate shit and exclude him from, he doesn't have any of that. But he didn't go there because he needed a career. He went there because likely his father was like, go there and get some network. Get your network together and, build on what we've already built. Okay. That's all it was. And there's nothing wrong with that privilege. I think a lot of white males in this country have found themselves feeling guilty of shit that they have no reason to feel guilty of. They've had their sensibilities deterred by a very disturbing Marxist, communist, feminist movement that has pussified them, where they feel like imperialism is bad. Imperialism is not. And matter of fact, America has not been an empire ever. And the first time I think that we are actually classifying it as the empire might be right now. With the Venezuela deal, with the ideas of Greenland, with locking off Cuba, with what's going on in Iran, and Trump saying, which I'm gonna cover in a minute if we get a chance to, Trump saying that I want to be involved in picking the next leader. I think that is very imperialistic, right? And we can have a conversation on whether or not we agree on that or not. But I think one of the biggest problems is the white male in America has been mischievously taught in their bedroom that diversity is his strength. And I'm not saying that because I'm some magical coon or sellout that these people keep saying, because this is not about money to me. This is really about facts to me, about what I actually see in data, not framing. The reality is that America is a byproduct of white men conquering the world, winning the game of world domination. Everybody hates that around the world. Everybody. And white men in America are wearing that as a guilt and not realizing that everybody was playing. Y'all just won, man. Okay? And y'all created societies over the last 1,000 years that make sense. Doesn't mean that just because you are white, that means you excel. I excel at this shit better than a lot of white people I know, because I understand the rules to the game. I understand the game that has been built and not saying that it's frivolous or inconsequential by using it as game. I'm just using game as a anthropomorphism. It's something that we know as man, anthropology. As men, we can describe something and use a term to fit, right? So I don't think that white men in general in America need to keep walking around with this fucking guilt. They need to shave that shit the fuck off, suck that shit up, and tell y'all liberal white women to shut up. I know that sounds harsh, but y'all have to tell them, calm down, shut up. We built this shit. We can fix this shit. I tell my black woman, shut up. Men built this shit. We gonna fix this shit. Not trying to sound chauvinistic, but most of them can't even follow a debriefing by Pete Hegseth when he's talking about missile capabilities and air defense. They can't follow it. Why can't they follow it? Because they're too emotional. They're thinking about the lives too much, not realizing that this is chess being played in our eyes right in front of us. And I think that's important at war. When two men are fighting, a woman holding one of them back is going to leave that person that's being held back at a deficit, and he's going to get knocked out and stumped out. That's how fights work. So men of this country need to understand that we are defending this shit. It ain't about care. It ain't about, oh, everybody needs a chance. And it ain't about that. That is how we are destroying our society little by little, inch by inch. All right. So I'm sorry to go on a tangent. I could do that a few times. Top, what is your take on that, man, before we move on to the next topic?
Churn that butter, man. Churn that butter. But I'll tell you this. The thing that I get from this is we all need to handle our own spiritual business. When a man has his spiritual business handled, then he's not upset at being a man. He understands his role. He knows the things that he's supposed to do. And he looks at his wife, he sees his spiritual helpmeet, and they're able to work together. You don't have to say woman this or woman that. The issue, though, is that you hit the nail on the head. In many cases, the white male has had to almost abdicate the leadership role. I went into a church not recently and was a member of a very progressive church, and was on the board, and I was glad to be a part of what I consider to be a progressive Christian church. What I noticed is that everybody told me, oh, it's so nice to have a masculine leader that's coming in and being a part of this, right? That was what was being said. But in the meantime, what I realized is that there was another group of people that honestly were 100% female, that weren't a part of the group that I was a part of, that was part of the board, that ran the entire thing, right? That everything was filtered through them. And what I realized is that masculinity was, they might have on the surface said, oh, I'm so glad you're here. But the minute that I said anything halfway conservative or said anything that was halfway masculine, it was too much. And I mean, look, the president of the board sent me a letter about a Facebook post. Couldn't believe. And I ended up pulling out of the church and moving elsewhere. But yeah. It's really neat, our experiences, right?
Right. I think that the male-female dynamic is so out of whack in America right now. It's a luxury privilege that's going on, in my opinion. You know, I think that only in a privileged society, how we say first world problems, you know what I mean? Like, only in a privileged society can we even get to a fact or a place where we have the confusion of what a male and a female even is. You know what I'm saying? Where it's so much of, this is why in previous episodes I brought that up so much. It's not because I obsess over the topic. I just feel like that's the easy level of barrier entry. You know, it's almost like, you know, as a man, you can't do 5 push-ups. I mean, what can I say? You don't pass the test. You don't. We can't. What we can train.
You gotta
can work towards it, but if you can't get past this, you're gonna have to clear it, man. We're gonna have to ETS you out, man. We're gonna have to get rid of you. You know, it's one of those things. So it's an easy barrier entry if you don't understand what a man and a female is. And I think that's the purpose of it always climbing to the heights of our courts, to the heights of our, because there's a big divide in this country that is wanting to be solved. Both sides want it solved, but one side is generally being led in a very emotionality way where they don't want to understand reality. They want to understand what they think should be, right? Like what they think should be. Oh, it ought to be. It's the same people that'll watch a Facebook video and get mad at somebody recording a lion eating a zebra. You didn't stop the lion. Why? Why didn't you save the bunny? Why didn't you save the deer? The deer needs to live too. Well, what about the bear that needed to eat the deer? The bear is a fucking demon. Those people have the equal vote of people like me and you. You know, and in my mind, that is disturbing. It's fuck. You know, I can't even take it seriously. These are barriers to entry in my mind. If you want to rely on that person to care for your defense, they can't even stand to see a bunny get eaten. But they're hypocrites because they never care about getting in a car and running over thousands of ants or blowing through millions of bees on the highway. They're just insects. They only live for a week anyway. So you're a hypocrite. You're the same person. You know, so I think these ideological fallacies need to be pointed out, and they don't have to be PhD level conundrums to figure out. These are simple. Male boy, life, death, easy. And a lot of liberals do a bunch of extra mental gymnastics to get around these realities. What you think, Nate? Am I bugging?
No, you're straight on. George Orwell, Orwell. He wrote those books, man. He come right out and just straight up said it, man. You want to
Brave New World, 1984.
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm.
Animal Farm.
Yep.
You want to separate a society into Marxism, socialism, communism, whatever you want to call it, ism. Yep. Go ahead and separate the people first. Turn the people against each other is what you got to do, man. I mean, it's Marxism, communism 101, bro. And so Mao from China, he separated socioeconomic economy from the people itself. Stalin did the same thing, socioeconomic.
Right.
Then in our country, for the last 40, 50, 60, actually before I was born, man, I'm 54, so you're talking back from the 60s. Mm-hmm. What the left has done is separate us from the race, because they can do that in this country because everybody here is from different race.
Have you heard of COMINTELPRO?
Yeah.
COMINTELPRO?
Yeah.
All right, so you're familiar how they intentionally use the blacks in America to pick apart. They said it is a quote from one of the leaders from COMINTELPRO. We want to use the Negro to keep a scab open, that a wound that they thought that America thought it was closed. We're going to keep picking at that wound. And eventually what you end up seeing in after 65 was when they removed the resistance, which is the black man in the household, they essentially got to attack the emotionality of the black female and use the black female to separate from their leaders. And now they have a lost tribe, a lost people out here that just moves with the wind, whatever emotional, racist stuff, vendetta, spiteful, Just name a bunch of emotionality and you'll get them. And especially if you can come with black skin, you'll get them. And the boys are raised by it. There's no solid thinking men that can step back and say, hold up. That don't make sense. It's a lot of that lacking in my community. It sucks, but I think that's a conversation for a later date, but that's coming around too. But
that's
I want
to. That's what it is, brother. That's what it is, brother.
Yep.
Okay. I can use ethnicity because that's all they have now. They can't go off policy, so I can go off ethnicity and race,
right,
and destroy these people. But you know what?
Right.
There's half the country, not even half. Our country's not buying it no more, brother. We're not buying it.
Right. Yeah. So before we run out of time, I want to go ahead and move on a little bit. It kind of segues from what we was talking about, the SAVE Act. All right. So this is the biggest internal issues that I think that we really need to talk about, because even more important than Iran, because people don't understand Iran. My opinion, I didn't give my conclusion on that. We got that no-brainer. That shit is over with. That shit's been over with. We're just cleaning up the pieces. And I do believe Trump is about to move out. We're all about to move out. We're not staying there for years. That's not what we were doing. I had a piece that I was going to cover on Pete Hegseth on what his response to answering reporters' questions on Forever Wars, just like we were. But he answered just like 9 times out of 10 what we would have answered if we was in his position. And that is, there's no Forever Wars. We've been through that already. We lived that already. We have clear-cut agendas. This spot, we're out of here. No lives. So, yes, we're losing. It's just one of those. Round of applause. I love it. But we're not going to be there for years. That's not an agenda of ours. So let's talk about internal politics. SAVE Act. All right. Could you pull this up real quick? I want to use the most common denominator is essentially one Google search and AI to pull up in general what we're talking about. The SAVE Act, America Act, also known as the Safeguard American Voter Eligibility Act. It is proposed legislation aimed at ensuring that only U.S. citizens are registered to vote in federal elections. The act requires individuals to prove documentary proof of U.S. citizenship when registering to vote, which includes identification that complies with the Real ID Act of 2005, which nobody had a problem with. So it's in accordance of something nobody had a problem with, a valid U.S. passport or other government-issued photo identification. Additionally, the act mandates that states turn over their voter registration lists to the Department of Homeland Security's systematic alien verification for entitlement SAVE database, which has been shown to have frequent inaccuracies and inadequate privacy protection. The act also includes criminal penalties for election workers who mistakenly register voters without proof of citizenship, even if the individual is a U.S. citizen. So, this is very general, just an overbrief. It's not intricate. There's way more to it. I think the bill is actually 25 pages, but I think AI did a great summary of what this thing is and principled, right? If anybody has an opposition to this, instead of attacking me on why I agree, can you find why there is a reason to not agree, other than it's the administration that's implementing this deal? What do you think, Top?
Oh, dude, you're all over it. It's just common sense, people. This should have been in the thing a long time ago. There's no reason why you can't show an ID to doggone vote. That's crazy. It's just nuts.
It just don't make any sense, right? What do you think, Nate?
I'm with you. 100%, 110%, man. It's about time. It's about time we had this put in legislation. I can't understand why it wasn't done 20 years ago.
Right.
I mean, you understand why it wasn't. Mm-hmm. On the left side or the liberal side, I understand why it wasn't. And then if you look at the last administration for their 4 years in term, you see why it was implemented to have an open border.
Yep.
Here's the deal. That shit's going to stop, bro.
Right.
Enough. Show me an ID. You want to register to vote? And who registers to vote nowadays? Young 18 to 21-year-olds, man, right out of high school, you know, fresh into college, 18, 19-year-olds. They're usually your first individuals that register to vote. Okay, you have to show us proof of your citizenship to the United States of America. Okay? Too easy, man. Birth certificate, whatever. And then you hear all this from the left. Well, you know, my name changed because I got married. Hey, that's too easy, man. What I have in my gun safe, my wife and I, we have an envelope, man, in my gun safe. One of our documents we keep, man. We got a marriage certificate, we got birth certificates, we got all that in one envelope, man. But most states already, if you're already registered to vote, either Republican or Democrat, it's on your driver's license. It's a code. They swipe it when you vote, man. I mean, it's been like that. I'm from Ohio, or I'm here in Ohio, Northwest Ohio. I'm from Michigan originally. But here in Ohio, it's been like that for like probably a couple decades now, where you have to show a ID to prove that you're a citizen and that you have a residency within the county that you're voting for. So,
I mean, this should be no brainer, man. Nobody bats an eye when they say you need to have an ID to get alcohol. I mean, come on. These are easy barrier entry things, you know, in my mind. But this is also why I'm gonna tell you guys a quick story. It's gonna take me about a minute. When I was about 14 years old, there was an old dude that was a old Vietnam veteran. He used to sit out on his porch every day and smoke a big ass cigar every day. And I used to cut his grass when I was like 13, 14 years old. Black dude. I used to talk to him every now and again. And one thing he told me that stuck with me throughout the years, and I didn't realize how impactful was at the time because I had no understanding of this. He told me that the racist person, because he was black and he lived through an era, right? I think that era is valid. I like with my mother, I don't get mad at her that she's a racist. I know she's a racist. It is what it is. I know her background and I know what she went through. That's not my experience. You know what I'm saying? So it's two totally separate realities, and I can compartmentalize that. I can also, two things can be right or correct. I can validate her reality, and then I can also validate my reality. My reality is totally different, and I think that we did a good job on the generations after her. Digress. Anyway, so the guy told me, he was like, one thing I know about good white folk and bad white folk. A good white person will lie to you in your face, but be telling you how they really feel. A bad white person will tell you the truth and won't really be meaning what they're saying. And what he meant by that, it sounds kind of weird and backwards, right? But example, nigga, I hate you, nigga, get your ass off of my property, right? Or get away from, you get to know that person and he probably the kindest motherfucker you ever met in your life. He just got an exterior because of his upbringing or what he was taught. And in the minute you know him, it's just like, God damn, I didn't know that you were cool like that. And now you got a whole nother relationship. And it's just out the blue. You never thought it would happen. You know, but it's the motherfuckers that sit back, just like the old slave ladies, they'll sit back and say, oh, that one is smart. Let's teach him something. That one is better than the other ones. Let's do some. Or the Planned Parenthood creator. Oh, black folk, the best thing you can do is let them go ahead and abort themselves. They don't. So I got a clip that I want to show you on the ideology that follows that line of liberal logic. This is how they think. They think outside of privilege. This is just a short.
No sound.
No sound?
No sound.
Okay. Let me re-upload that. Sorry, I didn't add it. All right. Let's try it now.
For $100, will you cook?
An opinion on
You
voter
got
ID
sound?
laws?
Yeah.
Usually pretty racist and they're bad. I think voter ID laws are a way to perpetuate racism.
Would you go as far as say those laws are racist?
For sure.
Do you think it suppresses the African American vote?
Definitely. Because they're less likely to have state IDs.
Minority voters are less likely to have the kinds of IDs that have been described or required.
These type of people don't live in areas with easy access to DMVs or other places where they can get identification.
You can always get IDs you do over the internet. Does that also make it difficult for black people in particular?
Yeah, you have to have access to the internet. You have to be able to pay an internet service provider for certain fees.
Do you think that's harder for black people to go online?
Fuck that.
Well, I feel like they don't have the knowledge of how it works. A lot of people have smartphones, but you might not have data. For most of the communities, they don't really know what is out there just because they're not aware.
Now I'm here in East Harlem to ask black people their thoughts on what you just heard. Do you have ID normally? You carry ID around?
Yes, I have state ID.
Do you carry ID?
Yes, I do.
Do you know any black person who doesn't carry ID?
No. Everyone that I know has an ID. Why would they think we don't have ID? That's a lie.
Does it sound racist for somebody to say that?
I think it is a little racist.
You judging somebody, but you judging them because they black, saying that they don't got it.
What opinion?
Look, all they're doing is NPR. All those. So one of the interesting things about my life recently is a change from being more liberal to coming way back more conservative. There was a time where in my life I really look, when we went to Iraq, something happened, something changed, and I was not a fan of Bush and some of the conservatism. And I remembered back to the days of Clinton when we didn't have any wars. And some of that caused me to think that maybe the Republicans and the conservatives were all messed up. I started listening to NPR radio, and I'm telling you, NPR brainwashed the living shit out of my ass. They did, big time. They just ripped the testosterone out of your nuts every day. Every morning you listening to them. It just minute by minute, they just like, and next thing you know, you're a little girl dressed in a tutu running around in the backyard. I'm telling you.
One more real quick. This is short with Kathy Hochul, the governor of New York. What she said about
young black kids,
black people
growing up in the Bronx who don't even know what the word computer is. They don't know. They don't know these things. And I want the world open up to all of them, because when you have their diverse voices, innovating solutions through technology, then you're really addressing society's broader challenges. Young black kids growing up in the Bronx.
I think whoever made light of what she was saying very good. It was funny to me.
Okay, what you just showed, those last two clips is a definition of racism.
Exactly.
For our viewers out there.
Exactly.
If you watch those last two clips, that is the ideal
1,000%. Hey, we got a comment I just seen, Top.
Yeah.
It says, damn, Burnett. One time in Korea, someone was showing you some prank calls of someone, Alabama racist old man trolling him, instead of responding in any way that I have expected. I can't really make full sense of what you're saying, but what I will say is 20 years ago, I was a different individual, and I've grown from that and expanded from who I was at that time. It was maybe a compassion for the guy being trolled. I never truly understood it, but later in life, after reading some early American Black orator speeches and their ability to transcend racial hate. Okay.
That's Price. I'm sure he's typing more.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I do want to address that the guy that you knew in 2006 was the same guy that Sergeant Major, what his name was, and said was going to prison. I was that Parks, Sergeant Major Parks.
Parker pulled me in his office and like, if you take Burnett with you, he's going to end up in prison. And I was like,
yeah. And he was 1,000% correct. He could see it in my eyes. He understood who I was. And now, as me, as an older black guy that has lived my life 20 years later, I understand who I was, right? But I have the integrity to actually look at that person and be like, yo, you was tripping in so many ways. And that's why you ended up in prison. I had time in prison where I had to sit still in a room no bigger than a closet for 9 months straight because I didn't give a fuck about nothing. I was out of my fucking mind, okay? And I had to use that time to at least come to a reality to understanding things. The reason why I do this show right now with Top and Price, I want you to understand that this isn't about money. This isn't about ego. I've been popular since kindergarten. I don't do this shit for fame. I don't care. This is a message that I think needs to be heard, and I'm using the platform Top is giving me right now to expand on that, to explain that a little bit. Other than that, Top will tell you, outside of this, I'm kind of exhausted with it all because I am happy in life. I have done well for myself. I turned around and changed my stars. I don't have a bill in sight. I live a wonderful reality, but that doesn't take away from the reality that I have kids. My kids will have grandkids. This nation is going to exist after it. There's a lot of things that's playing and moving. You can't say you really care about your children and grandchildren and not have any vested understanding of what's going around. When they come and ask you, Granddad, what do I do about this? You should know. That's your duty. I live on duty and integrity. And my integrity is fuck who I used to be. And that's it. That is what it is. So I don't know who you thought I was or what you think I am, but I'm something totally different. And I believe that I'm way more. Okay. So that's just kind of where I stand at.
Amen. Amen.
Yep. Oh, yeah. But anywho, I went off into oblivion for a second. It's kind of hilarious. So
that's good, man.
Yeah.
Stay bored, bro.
Yeah, it's wild though. It's like in my mind, I get I don't know. It's you sit there and you think that people are catching the same view that you're catching through the years that go on. You know what I mean? Like, but they're not. Nobody's seeing the same things. Nobody. And it makes you wonder of relativism and perspective. Like, you know, okay, I'm for this Iran war actually, and I'm not a warmonger. And every day I wear a band of somebody that I love dearly that died in a previous war that I was involved in, you know, and my band of brothers still survive. Some of them with wounds here, some of them with wounds physically, some of them with wounds in their heart, emotionally. There's so much traumatic issues that has happened doing these things. And in my mind, I look at it and I'm like, yo, we did that for something, and the something needs to be described. And when you take the time to understand what you were born into, sometimes it changes perspective. A lot of people are living in the now in their adult reality, like the world revolves around their time period. Man, we ain't nothing but breath in the wind, man. We just inhale and exhale of the universe. This shit is coming and going. But I think the things that we do in our life can reverberate well past our existence. And I think that this is what this is about. And I'm not doing it I'm planting seeds that I'll never get to see to sit under. That's what I'm doing right now. I'll never see the shade of these trees. And I don't care because my life is good. But I do want the future to hold on to something that they didn't do. Top, you got a supporter, you got a sponsor of the show.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's mention our sponsors. That's a good thing to do. This
Always.
show is sponsored by Penny A. Cox, Esquire, for all your attorney needs. Look at that beautiful lady. That's my wife right there. You call her, she's going to get you hooked up. Her and her team, they do bankruptcies. They do Chapter 7s. They do Chapter 47s. Heck, I don't know. They do all kinds of stuff. So anyway, if you need an attorney, call Penny A. Cox, Esquire. Number's right there on the screen.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful.
Penny Lane, you're on my mind.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right. Hey, I wanna just take a moment and just encourage us to remember that most of our battles are spiritual battles. Most of the times that we're feeling angst and we have problems personally, that it's something that we need to work out how we feel about inside. And I'll tell you, there's a cleansing spirit that if you will get still and you will turn inward and you will just listen, that you can get shown a lot of things about yourself and others, and if you'll turn to love. And Ray and Nate, thank you so much for coming and being a part of this. I love you guys. This is the NBC Room, guys. This is the NBC Room. It's something that we built, and we're enjoying it. Thanks for all the folks that are commenting and being part of the society. We really, really enjoy it. It's something that on Wednesday night I'm really getting to look forward to. We're going to start bringing some guests on, and we're going to be talking more and more about things that matter to us. And Ray's our fearless leader, our NBC sergeant that's squaring us all away. All right, we love you, man. Say goodbye, everybody.
All right, now, y'all, if you have opposing views, show up. Show up to the cipher, man. Let's talk about it.
Everybody.
Thank you guys for watching.
Marshall in the middle.